So this video would have been filmed way earlier in the day if it hadn't for my table being sold finally. I've got rid of the table. And then I realised why it was wobbling on me so much. I did not screw it completely. I did not screw the legs on completely tight, so that was not securely sound. No wonder it wobbled on me so much. And then I just spent the entire day rejigging everything. I like having a comfy chair here. It's really nice. Hi Shell.
And hello to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
I promised this was going to be a happier video compared to Saturday, and it's because I started Discworld. This did not turn up on my 10 Untouched Books tag, even though I've owned this for longer than I've owned my copy of The Lord of the Rings. I did attempt this. I did attempt it. I don't think I've ever heard a booktuber say they've DNF'd Discworld before, but I had an excuse. I was in college. I was struggling with my A-levels. That is my excuse, and I had a lot of exams. I couldn't. I did read in college. I just at the point where I picked this up, I got to the point where I was really struggling at the end of it. I got like, when I was rereading this, I figured out exactly where I was and I was like 50 pages in. And I remember enjoying it back then, before, you know, the exam stress took over and I had to put it down. And then I stopped being a reader because exams took on to uni. I was not a reader during uni, etc, etc. But I finally picked it back up again. I kind of put it on the back burner whilst I started to collect all of them, because I inherited the collection that my uncle had when he passed away in 2010, and that meant I got most of his books because I asked for them, and this is one of them. He did have quite a lot of them, but I've been collecting secondhand Discworld books, and I am three books away from a complete Discworld. I am so excited about that. I have the list on my phone of which 3 I need. I'm just ticking them off as I find them in charity shops, which, now that I have a book buying ban, I can't go into charity shops to find them. But I have been pondering which Discworld that I was going to start with, because each book is in a contained story, but there are like set books that can be read as a series, like City Watch, Death's Books, and The Witches. I decided Witches was going to be my thing because I did start it before, and I had that sentimentality to this type of book, because I think during my college years I was reading it whilst I was drawing the front cover, which if I find that drawing I will gladly show, but it's amongst all of the work, and I would not mind redrawing this as well. This is a if I ever want to become a book cover artist, I'd probably be studying all of the covers from Discworld. They are beautiful and gorgeous, and just take a look at that. Just take a look at that. Epic. Back in focus, please. There we go. The obstacle I faced this time round, probably something I forgot about last time round, was the text. It's just so tiny. It's just so tiny, and I could not focus. Terry Pratchett's prose was also very difficult to wrap my head around, so I had to find an audiobook to help me along, which meant that I couldn't take it to work to read. I couldn't take it out, and it just became a bit more struggle than normal, because as much as I do like a good fantasy wacky time, it did take a very long time to get my head around, and I'm pretty sure I still haven't got my head around it because I needed the audiobook through the entirety of it. And then I had to rewind the audiobook in certain places because my brain just could not work out what was going on. And so, yeah, I think my brain was on a different track to what my eyes were doing. And yeah, it was not pleasant. It was not pleasant. And so all my criticisms of my enjoyment of this book is mainly down to the technicality of how my brain works. And honestly, I did enjoy the prose when I got it, when I understood what was happening. All of the jokes were amazing. Just the daft, like how Pratchett can turn something like mundane into a cosmic joke. It's just so funny throughout in just the little bits. Like at the start, I wasn't laughing out loud, but I was just giving a huh. But eventually, I did burst out laughing in several places, and it is because of the cosmic humor, the cosmic jokes. I was getting a bit puzzled at the beginning because everyone says that if you like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you'll like Discworld because they're both hilarious. And I wasn't understanding it until it was getting progressively on in the story. I started with Equal Rites because even when asked where to start, Terry Prachett would even say not at the beginning because it's not at his best. And so I didn't want to start with The Colour of Magic. I think I did try. I did try ages ago. I can't remember exactly how far ago it was, but I did attempt Colour of Magic and failed for the exact same reason I was struggling here, was just trying to wrap my head around what was going on. The writing style. It's not a downside. If anything, the moment I can get into what the author is saying, how the author is saying it, I will eventually, it'll take some time for my brain to click on. It was the exact same when I read Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. It took me ages to get through that book just because my brain just could not with Robin Hobb's prose to the beginning, and then eventually my brain just, I can do it, I can read it, and then I was just whizzing through it. But this particular one, because the text was so small, I needed the audiobook. That just helped get me through it within the week, and it being a small book in itself. So Equal Rites, absolutely brilliant book. I loved just the whimsy and the discussions on the different types of magic. Like, there's magic and then there's magic. I remember my time reading the first 50 pages before, like back in A-levels, back in sixth form. It was just like the discussion of Granny handing her hat to Esk and going, why is this magical? And it's all about headology. If they think it's magic, it is. And you associate it with magic. And in that association, it becomes magic. Kind of like the placebo effect. And you actually see the placebo effect at work in some of Granny Weatherwax's treatments to people, which was very interesting to see that even witches are just like, yeah, this is very, very medicinal for your treatment, even though it's just a very placebo portion type of thing. So it's a placebo portion that she would hand to somebody and it would just like cure them, even though there is also that discussion that they also do need cures for ailments. So it's not a complete, oh, if you think hard enough you'll get better. It's not a complete thing. I was a bit worried when it talked about that, because I'm not gonna magically breathe brilliantly if I think I can. I will need my inhaler. It did not fall into that, which I was happy about. I really enjoyed the idea of borrowing an animal's mind instead of turning into an animal, like shapeshifting. You would just like try not to completely overtake a mind, but just sit in there and try to let it be calm and let it not notice you, just so that you can nudge it, turn left as you fly through the sky with it. And just how that whole discussion of how witches would approach magic versus how witches would approach how wizards would approach magic, and it's witches are more careful about the natural elements to things, and maybe you should say please and thank you to what you are using, or be mindful of the animal you are possessing. It's like, don't forget to thank the eagle. It's just like, no, don't curtsy. if you're gonna be magical, you gotta bow and be different. It's quite funny in certain discussions about respect as well, and I absolutely adore how the staff has a mind of its own and how it's in constant arguments with Granny Weatherwax at times, just having an argument with an inanimate object. Oh, where's my staff? Where's my staff? I know I've got a staff around here somewhere. I swear I'm going to carve some stuff into this. Randomly found a staff, and all I want to do is take up whittling so I can carve some amazing runes in here. But yeah, having a random bit of wood with some carvings in it have a mind of its own. When you think of magic staffs, you think that they're just like to channel magic, but when they become a magical object, like even the books in the wizard library have a mind of their own. They're flapping about after their wizards that have commanded them to follow them, or even the magic in the pages will just like have arguments with the books next to them. And it's so funny just how the magic interacts with each other, how different spells will like have an argument with each other, and just in this bizarre world I'm having an amazing time discovering. So yeah, this is my very first jump into Discworld and I'm having a good time. I'm just having a bit of a technical issue with my brain not working properly, but dyslexics are gonna dyslexic. I can't do anything about that. My hat is also magic. And because witches have a very distinctive hat, writers also are very well known for having distinctive hats too. So yeah, can't believe I forgot to put this on at the beginning of this review. Jeez, I'm very bad at this hobby. So yeah, I want to make a wizard hat and I want to make a witch's hat just because it's September now and I really want to get ready for October. Cannot wait to lean into witchcraft this year. I'm going to attempt to get through the Witches series. I'm going to attempt to get through all of the Witches books. Can't wait. I love also, before I forget, I love also how the discussion on how women can't be wizards because that's how it's always been, and it's against the law, which is spelled L-O-R-E instead of L-A-W, is quite hilarious. It's against the law, which is quite a fun play on word when you think about it. But it's also when something's been done and for so long that something different turns up and it completely challenges how things have always been done, people can't accept it right away. They always just like, but it's never been done before. It's not how things are supposed to go. And I like how this book is a complete challenge on that. And so, yeah. And it all boils down to a very simple ceremony at the end. Yeah, it's just that simple to allow something. And I do very much appreciate that is part of the element in this book. My first Discworld novel. I cannot wait to continue. Brilliant. I'm hoping my brain will eventually click with Terry Prachett's writing because I can't always rely on audiobooks to help me through things. So, yeah, brilliant start. Can't wait for the rest of these witches to get up to more shenanigans. But yeah, bye, Shell.
And bye to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
Ook.